All right, today we're going to take the pulse of the WordPress community, and let me tell you, it's a story with some real highs and some really tough lows. We're going to be looking at a devastating loss, a critical wake-up call for security, and a powerful sense of hope for the future. It's a snapshot of a digital world that is, at its very core, deeply, deeply human. This quote from our source material, WPMore, it just sets the stage perfectly. It signals that we're about to explore something more than just code updates and new features. We're starting with a story that really reminds us that any community, no matter how technical, is always, always about people. And that brings us to the memory of Zeel Thakkar. She was a true rising star in the WordPress community, and her sudden passing just sent shockwaves through the entire ecosystem. So on November 16th, while she was on stage speaking to the audience at WordCamp Surat, Zeel collapsed. She was rushed to the hospital, but tragically, she couldn't be revived. It was just an absolutely shocking and heartbreaking moment, not just for the people who were there, but for the global community that knew and admired her. And when you look at this timeline, it just shows the sheer velocity of her impact. She only started contributing recently, but in that incredibly short time, she became such a vital part of the community, earning prestigious scholarships, volunteering internationally, and even getting selected for the operations team for WordCamp Asia. Her passion just left a mark that will far outlast her time with us. So as the community grieves, it also has to face these critical, ongoing challenges. And one of the biggest right now is a security myth that has left tens of thousands of websites vulnerable. It is a massive wake-up call for the entire system. Okay, just take a look at this number for a second. 111,354. What is that? That's the number of infected WordPress sites that were cleaned in just 1 month, September, by a single malware removal team. It's a staggering figure. But the real story, the part you need to hear, is what all these sites had in common. And that's the kicker. Every single one of those 100,000 plus sites was running at least one security plugin. Get this, nearly 20% were even running 2 of the top plugins at the same time. And none of them stopped the attacks. This just completely shatters the assumption that installing a plugin means you're safe. So you might be thinking this was some super sophisticated, complex hack, right? Nope. For a staggering 81% of these sites, the attackers simply walked in through the front door. They had stolen admin credentials. They basically had the keys to the kingdom. And here's their playbook. It was shockingly simple, and it worked every time. They'd log in with that stolen password, immediately turn off the security plugin that was supposed to be the guard dog, and then install their own back doors so they could get back in whenever they wanted. So what's the takeaway here? Well, modern security has to be about layers. It's not about finding one magic plugin. It's about using strong authentication like passkeys, constantly monitoring for weird activity, keeping everything updated, not just your security stuff, and, importantly, demanding that your security provider tells you how a breach happened, not just that they cleaned it up. But a community isn't just defined by its challenges. It's really defined by how it responds. And in the WordPress world, that response so often comes in the form of generosity and collective action. Which brings us to a really, really uplifting initiative. It's called WP Gives a Hand. And the idea behind it is just wonderfully simple. Instead of just doing the usual holiday sales, WordPress businesses get together for 1 week in December to donate a chunk of their revenue to charities they care about. It's all about shifting the focus from discounts to genuine compassion. And the best part? It is so easy to get involved. A business just picks a charity, decides on a donation percentage, and then uses the hashtag to announce they're participating and to share their results. This transparency creates this amazing wave of positivity that encourages even more businesses and users to join in. This same spirit of collaboration is also shaping the technical future of the project. The community is now getting organized to build a more unified vision for development, and it starts with how it plans for what's next. So for the last quarter of the year, the core program team has one main focus: creating a unified approach to roadmaps. The goal here is to stop spreading everyone's efforts so thin and instead concentrate all that energy where it's needed most, giving everyone a bird's eye view of the entire project's direction. So the plan is basically this. Document how all the different teams already plan their work, suggest a super simple process for those that don't have one, and then create one central hub where anybody can see what's being worked on. And a key part of this, which I love, is improving how all kinds of contributions, not just code, are recognized and valued. Okay, so all of this planning, it's all building momentum for what's coming next. And what's next is a pretty big deal. A return to a faster development cycle, and of course, the arrival of the next major version of the platform. Yeah, you heard that right. WordPress is officially going back to a schedule of 3 major releases next year. This is great news. It signals a return to a healthier, more predictable pace, with the highly anticipated version 7.0 expected to land sometime in March or April. Now, a huge part of the talk around 7.0 is this new WordPress AI client. Think of it as a foundational tool. It's designed to let developers integrate AI services without getting locked into one company like OpenAI or Google. For an open source project, this is absolutely crucial. It keeps the ecosystem independent and flexible for whatever comes next. And finally, there's the admin redesign. Now, let's be really clear about what this is and what it isn't. This is not a complete rebuild from scratch. The best way to think of it is a fresh coat of paint, a much-needed visual refresh for the interface we all know, which, believe it or not, hasn't had a major update in over a decade. Which kind of brings us full circle, back to this question. After we've gone through loss and security threats and generosity and future plans, it all comes back to this. In a world of code and servers, what is it that actually makes a community feel human? Is it how we support each other through grief, how we solve big problems together, or how we decide to build a shared future? So everything we've gone through today comes from the fantastic reporting in issue 31 of WPMore. If you found this breakdown insightful and you want to dive deeper into these stories, and I really think you should, I highly encourage you to subscribe and support their work. You can find them at wpmore.substack.com. Thanks for joining us for this explainer.